Hey, what's up, everybody? It's AJ here. Haven't done one of these for a while. I'm actually back at home right now. Um, yeah, it's been a while since we've done a live chat, but I wanted to jump on board because there's some cool stuff coming, obviously, with the Polaris Velocity. And there's been a little bit of water under the bridge since the last time we did a live chat. It's been a little while. So, what's up, Truck Puller 95? How's it going, man? Yeah, I thought that I would jump on. We'll see if we can get a few people on here, start chatting about some stuff, see how everybody's doing. It's winter here. We're in full swing. Last time we've been doing some live chats, we had some issues with connections, so that's why I'm doing it from home because I got a wicked internet connection here. And with all the weather and whatnot, it sometimes gets a little rough. So hopefully it'll work real good here. How's it going, Gavin and TJ, Northern Rider? What's up, guys? How's everybody's winters going? Where's everybody calling in from or checking in from? We're up in Ontario, so we're a little north of the border. Indiana, right on. You guys still get some cold weather there, right? Maybe not like we do, but Southern Illinois, all right. Got minus 20 in Wisconsin. Yeah, exactly. That's pretty much what it is right here. It's snowing like crazy and super cold. Hey, what's up? All right, we got tons of people. Pennsylvania, New York, Poland, Minnesota. More New York, more Pennsylvania. All right. Sweet. Idaho, Florida, Kentucky, Alabama, Texas, Fargo. All right. Man, we got some good ones here. Winnipeg, Tyler Lee, and minus 40 in Winnipeg. Dude, that sucks. I'm sorry. That's just too cold. That's too cold. Barrie, Ontario. Nice. On camp in Minden. I am in Minden. That's where we are from. Minden is where we are from. Nürburgring. Nice. All right. We got Germany on board. Sweet. Thanks for checking in, AJ. AJ Guerreras. Sweet. Look where everybody's from. All right, cool. PEI. Nice. Nova Scotia's plus 10. Oh, my goodness. Crazy. Adam, you're in Bowmanville. You're nice and close. Right on. Cool. 48 in Florida. Not going to lie, I wouldn't mind being in Florida. No, winter's good. Winter's good. We're having fun. We're doing lots with snow tracks. Hopefully you guys are tuning in over there too. I know for a bunch of you, it probably doesn't make any sense because you're in areas where you don't get snow. But if you want to check out our stuff, we do a lot of cool things over on that side. But for right now, I just got my press release from Polaris about the new Velocity. So I just figured I'd jump on board. We can chat a little bit, see see what you guys think. I was kind of interested. So I'm going to read a little bit off of the embargo or the press release, but I don't know. I think it's kind of cool that Polaris is doing something different here. So they went from just having the Turbo S, obviously, which is pretty premium. You know, I mean, like the Turbo S, I was just looking it up online. You know, it's the Dynamics version, so it comes with the 3-inch Dynamics shocks, comes with all that cool stuff. It's got the touchscreen ride control because it's Dynamics. It's got all kinds of cool features. It's got the the LED lights up front and all that special stuff. But now they come out with the Velocity, and they're dropping in Canada. I'm not sure exactly what the number is in the US that it's dropped, but it comes in at like 25.4 for the 2-seater and 28.4 for the 4-seater. In Canada, it dropped like $4,000 on that vehicle. So I kind of thought it was pretty interesting that Polaris is doing something again that's sort of new to the industry. They come out with a really premium product, and then instead of making it even more premium and like saying, hey, we got 10 more horsepower for something called the Velocity because it sounds fast, which really it's just because of the Velocity shocks, I'm guessing, from Walker Evans. Yeah, it's kind of interesting. They're going backwards right now, and I don't know how people think or how people feel about that. I know that these big buggies are sometimes just for a certain niche of the market, and not everybody's buying a $30,000 side by side. But I found it kind of interesting that they're going backwards and bringing a vehicle with 3 times stronger driveline components, which says a lot. That's pretty huge, right? I mean, 3 times stronger driveline. That's pretty impressive. But then on top of that, I'm going to read through just a couple of the things that they did that are pretty. I don't know. It sounds pretty neat. So they reinforced the chassis, more robust drivetrain with improved cooling, stronger axles, high clearance control arms, and a 3 times stronger drive system. Now, what exactly that means, I'm not totally sure. Hopefully, we'll go to the intro at some point in the near future, and we'll be able to give you guys the like the hands-on actual test, tell you exactly what we think and what we feel. But it's kind of I don't know. It's weird. I thought the RZR S or Turbo S being the premium edition would have had that 4 times or 3 times stronger drivetrain, the stronger axles, the higher clearance arms, and all that stuff. But now they're offering a vehicle that seems to me almost like a, I would say it's almost like a pre-race build. So for somebody who wants to race this vehicle, you're not going to use the dynamic system. You're not going to use those dynamics, shock system. You don't need that. You don't need the LED lights up front. You're probably going to rip those off anyways and get rid of them. So it's, I think in my mind, what it is the kind of the guys at Polaris saying, hey, a bunch of people are racing these things, but they really don't need all the stuff we're putting on them. So let's give them the good stuff that they do need and get rid of all of the rest. So I mean, it still comes with the 4-point harness and all that stuff. It's got the, I can't remember what company makes the steering wheel in it, but it's like a Momo style steering wheel. It's a cool steering wheel. It's got nice 4 points. It's got the good roll cage on it. It still has all the performance, all the power. Everything is still there. It's just you lose the touch screen, you lose the GPS, you lose I can't remember what they call them, the signature headlights, the LEDs, all that stuff. Sparkle, thank you, Sparkle. Appreciate that. Yeah, you still get the 32-inch ITP Coyotes, which is, kick arse. That's cool. I like that. But they're getting rid of all the stuff that you don't need if you're a racer. So I think that's really where this vehicle is kind of focused at. It's $4,000 cheaper with all the performance, stronger driveline, stronger axles. It's beefed up. So I'm guessing that they're building this for the racer. I don't know. What do you guys like? What do you think about that? Is this something that if somebody's spending roughly $30,000, or I guess base cost is going to be $25,300 for this. So yeah, in the US, I guess a base Dynamics Turbo S would be about $30K. For $4,000, are you going to ditch all those things? And is that going to be a benefit to you? I don't know. I mean, you guys tell me what you guys think. I'm going to read some of the MVRPs on board with us. Just needs an MVRP exhaust. That's right. Absolutely. Sounds good with one too. Let me see what you guys are saying here. Yeah, they make the wheel. That's right. It's a Sparco steering wheel and 4-point harnesses too. Appreciate everybody tuning in, by the way. It's cool to see everyone on here. We got just about 100 people on board, which is kind of cool right now. $30,000 is too much. Yeah. No, I hear you, man. It's same drivetrain as the Turbo S. They just stripped the stuff out to make it cheaper. Well, I don't know if it's the same drivetrain though, because their press release that they sent us tells me right now, it says that the Turbo S, 72 XP4 Turbo S, the new Velocity models are built with stronger axles, high clearance control arms, and 3 times stronger drive system, a reinforced chassis, and more robust drivetrain with improved cooling. So to me, that says, oh, sorry, like the performance leading 72-inch Turbo S. Oh, okay, yeah. So I apologize. I'm a complete idiot. I didn't read that part of it. They just kind of worded that differently. Anyways, so then let's go back to the base of it. You're going to get, so for $4K less, you get rid of all of that stuff that, in my opinion, made the Turbo S super cool. I mean, I've used the dynamic system. I did a test ride on it last year. You guys can see it on the YouTube page. Maybe you have seen it. And I think it's super cool. And if I'm going out and spending $30K, I don't, I mean, sure, it comes with Walker Evans Velocity 3-inch body shocks. Those are great shocks. They're going to be awesome. They're going to work great. It's going to damp everything. But if I'm already dropping that much money, I'm probably not paying cash for it. I'm probably financing it. And over the period of time that I'm financing it, I think the benefits of dynamics, the GPS, all the cool stuff with that gauge package, the backup camera, I mean, all of those things, if you're a $30K buyer, I just don't know if $4,000 is enough to make me go, yeah, you know what, get rid of all that stuff that made the Turbo S seem so cool. I know where they're going with it. They want to appeal to a market that's a little bit cheaper. But I don't know. I mean, what do you guys, how do you guys pay for your rigs? I mean, I'm seeing a lot of people on here saying the price of these things are, way too high. Definitely there's a lot of money involved in these. But they're selling them like crazy. Can-Am, Polaris, I mean, now Honda's in the game. A lot of these companies are, Yamaha's selling their the YXZs. People are turbocharging them. They're dumping tons of dough into these. But yeah, finance, finance and destroy. Yeah, I love that. That's good. Take another mortgage. Yeah, I mean, they are expensive, but I'm thinking that most people are probably financing these things. Maybe you're putting a down payment on it. Maybe you're putting who is it here? It's like Mike said. Maybe it's 20% down and an 80% finance. Maybe people are taking an old ATV in, an old side by side, whatever it is, trading it in and saying, hey, just do the remainder in a finance. In which case, I think people just like cars, I mean, pickup trucks, whatever it is, we all drive around in vehicles that are a little more expensive than maybe we should because when you go in, it's like, hey, whatever, it's like 30 bucks more a month. Why wouldn't I do that? And I think that's where it comes down to on this one. If you're spending that extra money, are you going to go and just say, you know, who cares? Go for the dynamics package that comes with the aluminum roof and comes with the cool front lights, comes with the dynamic shocks, which in my opinion, the dynamic shocks right away, that whole center screen, the 7-inch touchscreen with the GPS and all that cool stuff. To me, that with the shocks is worth the $4,000 right there. If you're in that price range. Now, don't get me wrong. I know there's a lot of people who are going to say, hey, 30 grand is way too much money for me to spend. Obviously, these aren't the vehicles that you're looking at, and that's totally understandable. I get where you're coming from. I have 2 kids, and I'm a family man, so I know exactly what you're talking about. But there's a ton of people who are spending money on this stuff, and I think when you're buying that premium model, I don't know where this fits in. It's kind of different right now. Oh, you're gonna buy a sport. Sorry, I'm just gonna read through some of your guys' stuff here, but financing. But if it is for racing, you'd be backed by sponsors plus spending less on the chassis and driveline with the upgrades since it's already done. Yeah, fair enough, Super Drake. I hear where you're coming from, man. Zach, sorry, I can't pronounce Zachariah Smith. I ended up buying my Polaris free and clear. Good job. That's cool. With warranty. Bike life, mud life. Nice. Yeah. Michael Casper because of the show, you're going to probably buy a Sport XMR. If you buy a Sport XMR, you will be stoked. That's a sweet rig. Really, really fun machine. Honestly, I had a blast in that. We still have it around, and that thing is fun. I took it out in the ice and snow. You guys probably saw that test ride. It was pretty crazy, and everything was legit. We went out and just hauled on that thing, tried to wreck it. It was great. Waiting for someone to offer a dual clutch. Fair enough. Yeah. Well, I mean, you can get the DCT system or no, not DCT. The Yamaha system works pretty good right now. I've actually been impressed. That was one of my biggest, I would say, surprises this season was the new YXZ. I really, really like the way that vehicle works. Does it need another 40 horsepower? Well, yeah, a turbo model would be a lot of fun. And when you're comparing it to something like, let's say, this Turbo S or, the X3 Turbo, then it feels a little bit less, but not all that much. And I think if they put a turbo on it from the factory, I know that you can get lots of aftermarket turbo kits, but from the factory, I think it'd be pretty cool. I would be totally down for hauling on one of those things, and I think a lot of people probably would. So, what's your thoughts on the Talon price? Do you think they came in a little too much with just the X model in Canada? You know what? The Talon's cool. I really need to get some seat time in it though, and I think a lot of people do because there's really not anybody who has. Here's what I'll say about the Talon. I think the Talon is a competitor for the Yamaha, not for the Polaris or the Can-Am, because it's already at a massive disadvantage horsepower-wise. It's kind of like taking a YXZ and putting it head-to-head stock form against an X3 or against a Turbo S. Yeah, I know that the driveline efficiencies of a manual gear-on-gear system are going to be better, but not that much better. You can't make up 60 horsepower. It's just not going to happen. With the Yamaha, it's less because I know it's about 115 horse as opposed to, the 168 or 172, depending on Can-Am and Polaris. But you can't make up that much horsepower. That's almost 50 horse. That is 50. It's more than 50 horse. The Talon, I'm not sure. I think it'll be interesting to take it out and try it and see how it performs. It's going to have to perform like an absolute beast in every condition. And the power is going to have to get to the ground in a way that absolutely blows our minds because they're way behind in the horsepower department. That's a typical place for Honda to be, though. They don't usually come out with something that's going to beat everybody in horsepower. That's just not the way that it goes. And I know the vehicle will be built super strong. It'll be durable. It'll be here for a long time. But I think the performance buyer who's looking at buying that big rig for going out in the dunes or the desert or, ripping it wherever, I'm not so sure that they're worried about that vehicle when it comes to super, super high longevity, like a farm vehicle. I think they're expecting that a wicked high performance rig is going to take a beating and that there's going to be, 2-3 years down the road, maybe you're going to have to replace some axles. Maybe you're going to have to do some shock work at some point. I just think it's a different buyer. I don't know. Lower port of the trailing arm is going to be a real issue for them. Yeah, I haven't had enough compact disc. Take it easy, man. Get back to work. All right. Yeah, I don't know how it's going to work. I want to get some seat time in it. I think everybody does. We'll see how it goes. Right now, it's really just a complete and total just anomaly. Nobody really knows what it's going to be or how it's going to be until we get out and get to spend some time on it and get some really good hours on it. Because I mean, let's be honest, just putting in some seat time for an afternoon is not going to give you everything that you need to know about that vehicle. It's going to be the longevity to see how it stands up, how it does, and then obviously head to head. We got to put that thing in a head to head battle with some other stuff and see what happens. Just bought a 2019 X2 and flashed it, etc. Absolutely love it. Had driven the RZR and feels it's capable. I think you mean you bought an X3, right? 2019 X3. Feel this is capable by any means. You've driven the RZR and feel that this is as capable by any means. Oh wait, you're talking about the X2, the Wolverine. I think I would if you're talking. This is for River Sticks Inc. If you're talking Wolverine X2 to RZR, yeah, you know what? The Wolverine's got some. It's got some good things to it. Comparing to a RZR, I think it's a little bit different because they're kind of different vehicles. The Wolverine, I think, is a little bit more focused towards doing that. Like, I wouldn't call it a sport utility. I'd call it a utility sport because it's got that dumping box on the back, and they have the YXZ, which really is sport. But yeah, I can see where you're coming from there. I mean, I think if you head to headed the Wolverine X2 to the Polaris General, I think that would be a better comparison. But I think that's probably the better comparison would be against the General. However, the General has the RZR chassis, and I'm honestly, guys, I don't bleed Polaris blood, but they do a lot of things right. And I'll tell you, the General is one vehicle that I love. It works really good, and for me with a family, the General 4, I did a test on it just a little while ago. It's on our YouTube page there. You guys can check it out. But the General 4-seater is the vehicle that if I was going to put my money down, would probably be one that would really be a hard one for me to pass up, just because I can put my kids in the back. It's still got a tilting box, so I can sell my wife on the fact that, hey, you know what? Like, yeah, we can go and have fun with the family, but I can still get work done, you know. And maybe I'm stretching it a little bit there. It's not a huge box, but it does work, you know. And it's got the capability, but with that RZR chassis and kind of the functionality of having the dumping box, it works really good. The Yamaha Wolverine X2 is not bad by any stretch of the imagination. It's just the Polaris General rides a lot better, has better power delivery, and is just a different vehicle in that regard. But I bet the General is probably, you know, price wise as compared to a Wolverine X2. Well, maybe they're close. I should have all these numbers in front of me. Sorry, I didn't expect that I'd get off on this kind of a tangent, but this is the way it goes, right? Would love a General 4, but was leaning on the Wolverine X4 simply to being more trail ready in terms of tight trails. Fair enough, I'll give you that. So you're going to definitely have a skinnier vehicle with the Wolverine X4. We haven't found too many places that the General won't go. It's pretty nimble, goes just about everywhere. But you're right, it is wider. It's not the 50-inch wide RZR chassis. So you're going to have more width there, definitely, and it's, you know, that's a concern for sure for a lot of people. And the Wolverine X4 is, you know, pretty cool for sure, you know. All right, Steve, you bought a Can-Am Maverick XRC till Honda is proven. Yeah, you had the Pioneer 1000. I remember why I don't like CVTs. Yeah, well, the Maverick XRC it's a good rig. It works very good. Obviously, the X3 is the next step up and is a very, very different beast. Much different. But yeah, I mean, the Pioneer 1000, I don't mind the Pioneer 1000, but I'd take the Maverick XRC's power delivery 10 times out of 10. But hey, what's up, Melvin? Oh, you got to leave. No worry, man. Hey, thanks. We appreciate it. We appreciate you guys tuning in. And if I haven't said it yet, which I probably haven't, I appreciate everybody tuning in. Thank you for coming on board today for a live chat. I wanted to do this more often, but we get crazy busy. We're trying to do snow tracks and trying to keep busy with that side of stuff, and then we have family lives and whatnot. You know, same old story. I know it's not a sob story because you know what I get to do here is a blessing for sure, and I'm very thankful for it. But yeah, I haven't been on enough and haven't been doing these live chats, but we'll try to do these more often for sure, and get on schedule these a little bit more as we start to ramp back up. I can't believe it's already almost February, and we're going to be back around to April and May here real quick. So we'll be back into dirt super fast. but thanks for tuning in. We really appreciate you guys watching. Chad, you're saying X3 versus a turbo double X. What would you pick? Ooh, interesting. That's a good one. I haven't spent enough time on the turbo, or sorry, on the Wildcat XX. Now, I've spent a ton of time with the X3. Love the X3. Can-Am's done a huge, honestly, they've done a huge thing there. It's, sorry, not to sound like Trump by saying that. It's huge. It's huge. But Can-Am's done a good thing with the X3. They totally crushed it. I really like that vehicle. I like it in all forms. I like it in all horsepower forms. I really like the XRC. That's a super bad arse rig, and we've taken it out and tried to crawl it through just about everything, and it just keeps coming back for more abuse and more beatings, and we didn't break anything on it, and it really delivered. So I'm super impressed with that. However, Luke spent more time in the double X, and he says that he really loves the way that thing rides. He said, yeah, the fit and finish on it maybe not up to par with Polaris or Can-Am. And it's not. I mean, you look at the interior and you're kind of like, there's some things in here that feel a little clunky, feel like they're last minuted, don't feel like they're quite up to par. But here's the thing about Arctic Cat, and now I can call them Arctic Cat because Textron name is gone. The thing about Arctic Cat has always been that way, where the fit and finish may not be perfect. There might be some things that you look at and you go, I don't know if that's going to work, but somehow they seem to squeak stuff out there and get things by that you just go, dang, this works. On their snowmobile side, they've been doing that for years, where everybody looks at it and they're like, hey, why'd you bring a knife to a gunfight? And then all of a sudden it just blows the doors off everything else. I mean, the Firecat 700, perfect example, 700cc engine, 2-stroke, obviously we're talking here, but that thing would destroy just about everyone else. I mean, those sleds are still considered bullets. They've always done that, where they've been able to pull a feather out of their cap when nobody really expects that it's there. And I think if they put a turbo in that sled, or in that side by side, I think they're going to be, I think they're going to be a good competition for Polaris and for Can-Am. And at the horsepower that they're at, I think definitely they could, I think they could match, if not beat, horsepower wise. So I don't know. We'll see how that goes. We'll see if it comes out, see if they bring it. I really hope that they will. They better. They should. It needs to be here. We need another competitor in that big horsepower, turbo market, because they seem to be selling. People are buying these things. As much as I keep talking about how, like, prices are high and we're wondering, like you guys said, most people are financing these vehicles. That's the way it goes. And so they look at it and they say, well, if I'm going to finance an $18,000, whatever it is, add your acronyms, but I can go to the fully premium turbo version with, this and this for another, $4,000 or $5,000. And at the end of the month, it only costs me an extra $30 or $40 a month. There's a lot of people who are just saying, hey, go for it. We're going to have fun. And a lot of people are doing this with their families too, right? I mean, we're in a market where it's a lot of family people right now. And I see a lot of 4-seaters and a lot of, car seats in the back seats and kids back there. And at the end of the day, you're only here for so long. You don't know how many hours or days you got. So why not have some fun and do it with your family? I mean, in my opinion, that's time well spent. My dad did it with me. We went out racing as kids, snowcross racing. We did it for 13 years as a family. And it cost a lot of money. But at the end of the day, I mean, I got good family relationships. I seem to have turned out decently okay. Not a complete screw up. And I think spending time with your family and doing that stuff is important. So there's a lot of people who are just saying, hey, we're going to do this right now. Whether it costs us 30 or 40 bucks more a month, we're going to do this. Anyways, I digress. Let me go back here. What do we got? Textron. You guys didn't know that? Yeah, Textron's switching. Sorry, John. Textron's going back to the Arctic Cat name. So Textron Off-Road is no more. It's going to be Arctic Cat again. So long live Arctic Cat. They're coming back. And there's also the collaboration with somebody remind me of the boat company that they're collabing with. Tracker Boats, right? Is Tracker Boats Bass Pro? Yeah, they are, right? Tracker Boats and Bass Pro. Somebody give me an answer here. I'm pretty certain that's who. Thank you, Tracker. Yeah, thanks, Chad. Yep. So Tracker Boats, there's going to be now Tracker ATVs coming out of Bass Pro shops, I guess. And it looks like Arctic Cat's going to be building some ATVs and side-by-sides for Bass Pro. So that's kind of cool. They're going to be doing a bunch of stuff with them. We don't know what that's going to look like or how that's going to shape up, but it is what it is. I mean, hey, if Tracker wants their own products and they're going to offer their own service, people, you know, you're going to be able to get them serviced, and it's not just going to be, hey, we'll sell you the product and then go get it figured out yourself. Or maybe they're going to say that tracker ATVs and side by sides are going to be able to be serviced at Arctic Cat dealerships. I don't know how that'll work, but if they can sell more of them and keep Arctic Cat and Arctic Cat's R&D pumping out more cool stuff, then I'm all for it. I don't think you're going to see a whole lot of difference in the vehicles. I would imagine that they won't re-engineer the plastics or do any of that stuff, but I think that probably, probably they're gonna just rebadge stuff as tracker and sell it at a Bass Pro. I think so. We'll see how that goes. It's in the works right now, and we'll see it coming up in the near future. But I mean, the guys from Trackers, the guy who owns Tracker, and I think he owns Bass Pro too, is pretty well off. So he's got the money to be able to make something happen there. Yeah, it's just a new sticker on the Arctic Cat products. You're right. Yeah. Textron and Arctic Cat needs a dealer network in the U.S. before they get close to competing with anybody. Yeah, definitely. I guess it'll be interesting to see what happens with Bass Pro. If I know that they sold Arctic Cat stuff for a long time, at least they did here in Canada. I'm not sure if they did in the U.S. with you guys, but in Canada they sold them for a long time. We'll see what happens. I think the big thing is, it's like in Canada we have a store called Canadian Tire. I know it's kind of a strange name. Yeah, they sell tires, but that's like the small majority of what they do. But they used to have, like, you know, the little Baja ATVs and dirt bikes and all that stuff. Everybody would go and buy one. They'd bring it back and they'd say, hey, I need this thing to be serviced. And, you know, Canadian Tire says, yeah, not a chance. We don't touch those things. I think that's the big thing that'll say whether that goes well or not, is if they're willing to put a service team behind it, or if it's just, oh, well, go find your local Arctic Cat dealership. Because the truth is, there might not be one close by to your Bass Pro that you buy this tracker from. They'll have to differentiate themselves a little bit too, because I think that that's just, you know, kind of out of one pocket into the other. If you don't get enough benefit for one or the other, I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I don't think it's like Chevy and GM trucks. I don't think it's that close of a harmony. I think there's going to be some more differences. We'll see how it goes. I mean, really, I can't say anything until we see more. Anyways, let me get back to some of your questions. So, what do we got here? Their dealer network is Bass Pro. Yeah, that's I guess that's one of the big ones. Yeah. Honda Talon thoughts. Yeah, we talked about that a little bit earlier, Nick. I'm anxious to get seat time in one. I really want to take it out and test it. I want to see how it goes. I think it's one of those, and don't get me wrong, I'm not always harping on Honda. Honda makes vehicles that are super strong, really reliable, and durable. They don't make vehicles that blow you away with performance, horsepower, you know, new features or amenities, and crazy new technology or whatnot. That's just not what they've done. They've built vehicles that are strong and durable and long lasting, and there's a market for that for sure. You know, I can't remember how many farmers that I've talked to who absolutely love their Hondas and they won't do anything else. But the Talon, I think, it's coming. I don't know if it's too little too late, because the horsepower is not there. Yamaha still outguns them in horsepower. It's not a turbo. It's not offered as a turbo. I think it would have been really wise for them to come with a turbo and a naturally aspirated and just really, really saturate the market, because I think the Honda buyer who's looking at Can-Am X3s or Turbo S's from Polaris, or, you know, double X's or YXZs or whatever it is, I don't know. Is that guy going to look at the Honda and go, oh man, this is amazing, I'm going to drop all this stuff for that? I just don't think so. Does anybody have the actual retail price? Have they put it on their website yet, what the retail price of the Talon's going to be? I know there's two, right? There's the wide one and the narrower one, but does anybody know what the price of those are? Or can you do a quick search for me and find it out? Because I'd love to know in comparison to like the Turbo S, which someone else there just said, what's the Turbo S Velocity aimed to? And that's kind of what we were talking about. I think the Turbo S Velocity is just, oh, Chad, okay, 20K. Is that for the base, like the narrower one? The Talon is $19,900 for the X and $29,900 for the R. Okay, so it's just a difference between $1,000. So tell me this: if you guys, let's take money and put it completely out of the equation right now, or you know, don't think about money at this point right now. If I offered you a Honda Talon that was 170 horsepower and it was $25,000, or I offered you a Honda Talon that's roughly what, 100 horsepower at $21,000, what's your choice? Like, when I said money isn't an issue, I meant you have all the money in the world right now. You want to buy a side by side, you just don't care. is the $4,000 difference between a Honda Talon R and a Polaris Velocity S, is $4,000 enough to make you not choose the Polaris? Because for me, at yeah, exactly, Northern Rider. I'm with you right there. I think if Honda came in at like 16.9 and you look at it and you go, it's 10,000 bucks. I can probably justify, yeah, 10,000 bucks and 60 horsepower, or roughly 60 horsepower. I'm probably going to look at it real hard and try to get some seat time and say, okay, 10 grand, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of dough in someone's pocket. But $4,000, I just don't know. Like 20, you guys said 29.99. So yeah, so 21,000 as opposed to 25,399. So man, I want to see what you guys say here. 100 horsepower is for East Coast is plenty. Sure, and you know what, Steve? I'm not saying that 100 horsepower isn't enough. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that if you go to everybody else's 100 horsepower rig, it's significantly cheaper. You go to an X3 with the low horsepower turbo, or go to the Maverick, you know, the previous version. Go to a Polaris, I guess all the different versions now. Go to a RZR S with 100 horse. Go to the Maverick Sport with 100 horse, with the 1000R. All those vehicles are going to be way cheaper than the Honda right now. I just don't know. I mean, do you save the money? Do you go with the Honda? It's Mason. You're into, yeah. You'd pay the extra for the 170. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. But Honda knew when they came out with the Talon, sales for North America units would not be as strong with the turbo model out as well. Yeah, you're right. The naturally aspirated units wouldn't be as strong if they came out with a turbo at the same time. You're definitely right about that. But I'm just wondering if maybe the better choice wouldn't have been to come out with both at this point. I mean, I think it's one of those things where they're so far behind the game because they haven't been there for so long that they're really going to have to impress, and just kind of, yeah, I think they're really going to have to impress and deliver in a way that is going to blow us all away. That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah. I don't know. We'll see. Seat time's going to tell. Seat time and head to head. That's where it's going to come down to. And you guys are right. Like, yeah, Steve, you said Polaris after 2,000 miles, you're paying for parts. The Honda will be cheaper in 2 years. We'll see, because Honda's never put together a vehicle like this that's going to be beat on this hard. So at the end of the day, I know everybody will say, well, yeah, but they've been testing forever. They've been testing forever. Fair enough. But you know what? One thing I can tell you for sure is real world testing is completely different than manufacturer testing. And all of these manufacturers know that when this stuff goes out into the real world, stuff goes sideways. Things happen and people use them in ways that they never imagined possible, you know? So we'll see where it goes. They said the Velocity was going to be remapped for lower end power. Will that make it more geared for rocks and trails versus dunes? I don't have 16-inch ground clearance, 4-point harnesses. It says so this is a quote from Polaris. Polaris's vice president of off-road vehicles. It says, we designed the Velocity models in response to drivers seeking the ultimate combination of performance and value. So I don't think, in their press release, it doesn't say anything about there being any, sorry, I'm just reading it right now. Doesn't say anything about, no, it says simplified fit and finish. So I'm guessing that the interior is going to be a bit different. There's going to be less, less cool stuff there. Hey, Zero Fox is giving off road. What's happening, man? So it's yeah, doesn't seem like there's any. Oh, okay, hold on. The Velocity Turbo S model also features 25% more assist in power steering and a better feel at high speeds. You know what? I just got to read through this stuff more. You guys get me all wound up. You're right. Recalibrated throttle mapping gives the driver more immediate and improved control. Recalibrated throttle mapping. So that doesn't tell me throttle mapping for more immediate and improved control. I would say that that's probably the drive-by-wire system. I think that might be the drive-by-wire system. Because the throttle mapping, I mean, yeah, I think that's just the way that it interacts with the butterfly valve on that. I think that's what that is, because it says more immediate and improved control. So I think they're just tuning up the way that drive-by-wire system from the interaction between your foot and when it actually gets to the throttle body. I think that's all that's increased there. It does say that there's a redesigned clutch box that allows for better airflow and decreased belt temperatures. So, I mean, that's pretty much something that every manufacturer with every turbo model does every single time they redo them, is they come out with more cooling in the belts, because these belts are taking a beating, right? Hey, let me go back here. Same basic dash as the XP Turbo of 18. Yeah, exactly. So they grab some stuff that they had on the shelf, stuff that they dumped in there. Chad, you're right. No gearing, just mapping. So I'm pretty sure it's not. I mean, they said it's the same horsepower, so I'm pretty sure that they've just been able to tighten up that drive-by-wire throttle system, which I'll tell you is probably the best one out there. It works great. There's honestly, we don't have any issues with it. It's a really good system. Works really well. And does what it's supposed to. So I guess they've probably just been able to increase the bandwidth between the throttle sensor and the throttle body, I would imagine. You know what Honda should have done? Bring out one side-by-side now, later on release a turbo in the Talon. Yeah, you know, I think, I don't know. Does anybody think that Honda actually has a turbo in the works? That's a question that we've been asking a lot of people, is do you think they're going to bring a turbo? I'm not sure if they will, because Honda follows closely what Yamaha does and vice versa. They kind of look at each other, and they tend to bounce, back and forth with competing against one another as opposed to competing against the rest. Now, Yamaha's a little different there. Yamaha has stepped out in the past few years and really done some stuff that's opened our eyes and made us, get excited about Yamaha's products. They're doing a really good job right now, but Honda pretty much just bounce back and forth. And kind of look at Yamaha as their competitor. I think, in fact, one of the things that we sometimes say is we sort of believe that, when Honda looks in the rearview mirror, they don't think there's anybody back there, and sometimes it's because they're in last place, not because they're so far ahead first. And that's a harsh thing to say, but let's be honest. I mean, if you're looking for a performance, sporty ATV, they haven't had an offering for a long time. I mean, a 680 Rincon is not gonna wind you up and grind your gears. If you're looking at buying like an Outlander XXC or a Scrambler. I mean, not even in this world. Like, I think they found one on Mars that's so far away. That's not an exciting ATV for somebody looking to buy a vehicle like that. Yamaha, on the other hand, they've started to build some vehicles and put some Grizzlies together, some packages that are pretty exciting. I mean, they're doing that one this year. That's their mud kind of specific special edition, and they're starting to focus on what buyers want and what they're asking for. I get it. I'm going to tick off Honda people who love Hondas, and I'm not trying to do that, but I'm just telling you the truth and the way that we see it from where we're sitting. There's a lot of times where I think the things we expect to come from Honda and the stuff that we really hope is going to be coming down the pipeline just doesn't quite get there. And I think a lot of you feel that same way too, because I've talked to a ton of buyers when we've been at different events who said, I was waiting for, and then they came out with this, and I just went and bought this, and I just went and bought, went to a different brand. I think Mason Jar, I think Honda, who they compete with, is themselves. You're right, and that's true. I don't think Honda pays attention too much to the competition. I think they should more, and I think they have all the capability in the world. So everybody who loves Hondas, hear that. They have all the capability in the world. I mean, look at the company. It's huge. It's massive. They build all kinds of they build really good dirt bikes and, amazing sport bikes and all kinds of cool, power equipment and stuff that's just, really techy and performance driven. I just think they need to put a bit more into the side-by-side market, and that's where I'm coming from. So I don't want to beat on them because I haven't put any seat time in this vehicle, and it may blow me away, and it may, really open my eyes, and I might be a believer. I just think that it's just tough when it comes to the horsepower disadvantage and the price of the vehicle. I think there's just a bit too much. I think there's a bit too much lacking there. So I'd like to see that vehicle priced probably, like, even if it was $3 to $4 grand cheaper than where they currently are. I think that would be a better offering. Mind you, they're probably targeted right in the same place that Yamaha is. So I haven't looked at the YXE prices in the US or in Canada for a little bit, but I'll bet that they're within, $500 of the YXE. You guys can probably tell me that, but Yamaha needs to make a Grizzly 1000. You are absolutely correct, Mitchell. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. And I think it would sell. Honestly, I think if they came with 1,000 twin, Yamaha would sell a ton of Grizzlies. Oh, hey, DRAM. Sorry, man. CFMOTO opinions, ATV and their side-by-side. CFMOTO is doing a lot of good things nowadays. They're really changing stuff up. DRAM, are you out of the US or Canada? Because that makes a bit of a difference when it comes to CFMOTO. While they're basically the same product, they are two different companies, Canada to US. You're in the USA. Okay, so you don't have that crazy good warranty offered to you. In Canada, when you buy a CFMOTO, I believe you get a 5-year warranty without paying for it. I'm not sure. Is that in the US as well, or no? That's no dice. I'll wait for you to let me know here and see. I'm not sure if they do that in the US at all. Okay, so 1-year warranty on the CFMOTOs in the US. So that's a bit of a difference. The one thing that you were told no. Okay, cool. Yeah, so in Canada, they offer you the 5-year warranty, which to me, I'm a fan of that. And one of my good buddies, Blaine, he actually sells CFMOTOs. And he sells them just in one town up from where we are. And he kind of gives me the rundown on, where the products are at and how they're doing and how they're selling, kind of the new features and benefits. We talk with CFMOTO, we do test rides for them every year, and they're really starting to step out and build better products. They're listening to the market. They're trying to build stuff better. Are they a little bit behind everyone else in some areas? Yeah, for sure they are. I mean, they're having to. They are a Chinese manufactured company. Let's be honest about that. They come out of China. But what they're doing is they're able to relay the information from the consumer back to the factory and get things changed. And that's something that we haven't seen with a lot of the Chinese manufacturers. It's usually just, hey, here's what we have. We're going to sell this until nobody buys it, until all the shipping containers are empty. CFMOTO is different. I mean, they work with people like CV Tech, which is a Quebec company who makes great CVT components and clutching components. They were working with Elka for a while there, and I wish they'd go back because I really, really liked when they were working with Elka. The shocks that they put on since then are not as good as the Elkas, and I'd like to see them go back because Elka's a great shock. You're not worried about warranty, just reliability. Well, that's where I was in a roundabout way. I'm coming back to that. The 5-year warranty offered in Canada gives me the assurance that if something goes wrong for the next while, I'm covered. A 1-year warranty is a little bit trickier because we get to test stuff and we put it through its paces, on a summer by summer basis, but we don't keep vehicles for 2, 3, 4, 5 years. So that's the big one. How is it going to handle? How is it going to last? How is it going to, how's the durability going to be 3 years down the road? And that's something that I can tell you it's going to be better than their first gen vehicles because 6, 7 years ago, the stuff that they were producing was not up to par with where it should be. Nowadays, everything that we ride and test from them really does produce and deliver a good quality ride. The parts that come on it from the factory, like at the showroom level, you're going to walk in and go, wow, that thing comes with a lot of really nice stuff on it. And you look at the other, competitive manufacturer and you go, wow, that kind of has steel wheels and cheap tires and no winch and no doors and no light bar and no roof and no, you can go through the whole list. Then you look at it and you go, well, okay, the CFMOTO is $500 or $1,000 or $1,500 cheaper, but it comes with like 5 different things that I'm going to really want to put on this vehicle. So at the end of the day, maybe you're saving yourself $3,000-4,000. Is it worth it? That's going to be the question that is going to be answered 5 years down the road. And that's why I'm really, really stoked about their 5-year warranty in Canada, because it gives people that assurance that, hey, we stand behind our product. Saying that, it's the same product that you're testing or that you're looking at in the US. So if they're standing behind it for 5 years in Canada, then I got to say in the US, they're only giving you a 1-year warranty, but Canada's going 5. And I don't see a ton of them going back. I don't see a ton of them broken down on the side of the trail. I mean, everybody's got their issues and there's always lemons from every manufacturer, but I think CFMOTO's doing a darn good job right now. So if you're talking dollar for dollar and there's absolutely no differentiation in price, I might lean towards looking at a brand that's been around a little longer and has a little longer history. But if you're going to save yourself $3,000-4,000, well, then I'm not going to pass up the opportunity to look at a CFMOTO. So anyway, sorry. I'll get back to some stuff here. What do we got? Thoughts on Textron? My thoughts on Textron. Next question. No, I don't. Textron's doing a lot of things right now. They're changing stuff up. They're going. I wish they had just kept the Arctic Cat name. I think that would have been the best thing. But now that they're going back to that, I think is really smart. people know Arctic Cat better than they know Textron off-road. Textron sounds like an oil company. They're a massive, massive company who make all kinds of cool stuff. I mean, if you go on and search Textron and see all the different armored vehicles and jets and like Bell helicopters, Cessna aircraft, they make small budget fighter jets. They make crazy armored vehicles and hovercrafts and weird cool stuff for the for the U.S. Military and all different branches of the U.S. Army. I'm I think that they have all the potential in the world to do huge things and to really, really blow us all away. I just know that it's going to take more investment in R&D and more product hitting the ground because that's what sells. So I'm hoping and I'm hopeful that they'll, you know, probably be able to get somewhere. So um, right now, I think the XX needs to be a turbo. I think that uh, probably they need to bring more models of ATV and step up the game there a little bit. Um, they're doing some good stuff though. They just need I think we just need to see some more coming out from them and at a bit more rapid pace. So I hope that they throw money at it. I hope that Textron is uh, is going to continue just pushing hard with the Arctic Cat name, um, and we'll see where it goes. Anyway, sorry that was kind of all over the place. I'm an aircraft firefighter, and we have Bell helicopters on base, and call volume is 0. Textron makes good stuff. Well, that's good. Yeah, yeah. I mean, Textron is they're a huge company. They work with NASA. Yeah, exactly. Like they're not a small company. That's why we're saying like if they just threw just a fraction of a percentage towards R&D on Arctic Cat off road and Arctic Cat snow, I think they could absolutely destroy everybody because the powerhouse that is Textron is big. In fact, I would almost be willing to bet that if you put them up against Can-Am, Polaris, um, well, if you put them up against Can-Am, Polaris, Yamaha, Kawasaki, Suzuki, possibly even Honda, they're probably bigger than Honda. And Honda's a car company, but Textron might even be bigger than Honda because we all know how those government contracts go. I mean, they're a huge, huge company. If they just put a fraction of that towards R&D on this off-road side, I think they'd blow us all away. And we're really hoping that that's going to happen really, really soon. So um, their stuff isn't bad. I'm not saying that in any stretch of the imagination. It's just we're really anxious to see the next big product come from them, something that just makes us all go whoa. So we'll see where it's at there. So they should be able to shove AC in there, air conditioning. Yeah. So let me go up here and see what you guys are talking about. Sorry, I'm off. I'm not off topic. We're talking about whatever. We're talking about whatever you guys want to talk about. I just go on rants because it's my job to talk. So I'm going to go up a bit and see what you guys are saying here. Looks like we got a couple people going at it here. Yeah, so I talked about the CFMOTO thing. I don't know. Somebody throw me out a question. Let's talk about something. Textron should have just gave Robby Gordon free reign. Well, yes and no. I think honestly there was issues with Robby Gordon. I mean, Polaris dropped Robby Gordon, and I think there was issues there. So um, I don't know. Maybe he has it figured out, but I would guess seeing that he's bounced between a couple of different companies, he might be a tough dude to get along with. So I imagine that's probably why he's gone from Polaris to to Arctic Cat and Textron, and now I don't know. I don't think they even have the RG suspension name on any of the vehicles now. I think that's all gone because I don't think Arctic is working with them anymore either. So he he might be a different dude. I don't know. I've never had a sit down with him and a talk, so I'm not sure. But he might be a harder person to get along with because usually with a company like Polaris, if you work with them and everything's happy, everything goes along nice and easy, and they usually don't boot anybody out. But for him to move through two different companies now, and for his name to be completely gone from both, I don't know. You guys can look into that more, but he hasn't stuck with anything. Yeah, that's true. I mean, I guess only really off-road racing. Okay, could the Honda design on the transmission even handle 170 horse? That's a good question, Justin. That is a good question, and I don't know, but I can tell you what, the first few people who get one of these things, you can be sure there's performance shops that are already trying to figure out how to get a turbo jammed in one of those. I mean, what'll it be like? You know, 6.5 minutes and someone will have a turbo on a Talon. I would imagine it won't take too long for somebody to jam one in there and you know, go do some wheelies in it at Glamis. But will it take it? I don't know. That's 100 horsepower driveline. I mean, I figure probably manufacturers build things. I don't think they build them 100% overbuilt, you know, where it can handle double the horsepower. I'd say probably, you know, they will shock load test things to 50%, you know, more than what they expect to see. Maybe that's even on the outer maximum. Maybe it's like 30%. But you're talking at 170 horse because the Honda gave out horsepower numbers, I believe. Luke was at the intro. I didn't go to it, but you know, you're talking a significant increase. I don't know. That's a lot of power to throw through the driveline. It is gear on gear, so that's good. But just because it's gear on gear doesn't mean you can dump 1,000 horsepower in it and it's not gonna, you know, not gonna absolutely spit chiclets out of the transmission. So we'll see. You'd love to see another. Mason says he'd love to see another mud build. Well, I don't know. That's actually, you know what? Let me. Excuse me. I'm gonna have a drink here. Let me ask you guys that. 104 at the crank was their number. Okay, so wait, 104 at the crank. Okay, yeah, I guess everybody gives crank horsepower. What am I talking about? So 104 is their rating. Yamaha calls theirs 115. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. In a second, I'm going to ask you guys what you want to see for this season for some kind of a build or cool project or something different, because I got to do something, and this is kind of the time of year where we start bouncing around ideas with the rest of the crew. So I'd like to get your guys' opinion on that. But I just saw something on here that I want to touch on. Where was it? Oh, where's the SnowTrax live streams? I need to do more SnowTrax live streams. We had issues with our internet. We're in a small town, and that's because we're small town people. I'm not a city boy at all. You know, I want to be able to shoot deer from my back deck and and ride my ATV down the road without getting hassled. So that means that we have less bandwidth to work with here when it comes to internet. So I'm at my house, which is like literally a kilometer from where we film and where we edit and do all that stuff. I'm really close by, but for some reason at my house, I get awesome internet. So that's why we've been having some issues with the streams during the winter. Sometimes we get issues with the phone lines because we're back in the sticks. So I apologize about that. I will try to do more from here. I'll try to get on board more as much as I can. So my apologies. There was something else on here that I wanted to touch on though. Hold on, let me scroll up. So we're talking about the mud build. I'm going to come back to that. Where is it? I can't. Anyways, whatever. Would you go riding with Ostercruiser with your mud racer next season? Yeah, that'd be fun. Actually, we've talked to him about that. Yeah, we talked to him about going out there and doing that. I think that would be a lot of fun. Actually, it's just that it's like a 4-day drive. No, 3 to 4 day drive to get out to him. So it's a bit of a trek to get out there, but it would be fun to do. Family side-by-side build, family-friendly accessories. Yeah, I could do that. We've done some of that before, but we could definitely look on touching on something like that. I like to do something a little bit different. You guys should build a drift build. That would be cool too. Yeah, you know what? We've actually talked about doing that. Or the other thing that we'd like to do is we thought it'd be cool to put sand tires on the mud racer and take it to like Silver Lake sand dunes and see what it would do with sand tires on it, because the thing spools up so fast. We thought that would be kind of fun as well. Polaris, we could do that. There's a lot less people building up Polaris ATVs. I don't know, is ATV or side by side the way to go? When are you going to do a Maverick XRC review? We did a Maverick. We did the RC and the turbo, the X3 XRC. So we did that one. It's online on YouTube. But the Maverick XRC, is that the one that you're talking about there, Steven? Because we did do an XRC, but it's the turbo. Oh, are you talking about the Maverick Sport? Maverick Sport XRC? That one I would like to do. Yeah, we did the XMR, but we can see about doing that. Drift side by side is safe. Yeah, it's safer than an ATV for sure. Who else we got on here? We got someone from Thailand who says that they love. Well, thank you very much. That's I appreciate that. That's nice. Thank you. High lifter on tracks for winter riding in Canada. Yeah, that would work. The only problem is that we don't do the show during the winter here, so it's a little harder to get that going. Hey, what's up, Elijah? Okay, there was one up there up top. What's your favorite ATV? Oh, come to Mudnats. We should go to Mudnats with that rig. You're right. We definitely should do that and just go, race it and see if we can't blow it up. What's my favorite ATV that I actually own? I don't own an ATV, so I'm going to be honest with you. I don't own one because I wouldn't be able to ride it if I did. We have so many ATVs around here that I got to put miles on everything that I just bring them home on the weekends. I just grab whatever ATV or side by side I want, bring it home, put miles on it, get more opinions because I like to do stuff around the house and just so that I can have a better opinion for you guys of, doing typical stuff. It's not always just like holding it wide open and going crazy, but I get to, do the stuff that everybody does with their side by sides. If you need to do some stuff around the house or the wife says, hey, I want to, move this junk in the backyard over here. Well, I can go help her and do that. So, so I don't actually have an ATV. I don't have a sled either. I have some vintage stuff and some, I have an old car, an old 70s Cutlass, but that kind of stuff that's my hobbies besides doing this. So, Steve, yeah, no, it's a good gig. Don't get me wrong. If I complain ever, just tell me to shut up. He answered my question. Arkansas Kawasaki sport side by side sport. Yeah, Kawasaki really doesn't. I mean, the Terex isn't a sport side by side. We are waiting for Kawasaki and Suzuki to do something, and I guess you could say we're waiting like we're waiting kind of like we waited for Honda. I just don't know why they haven't done it. Suzuki, I guess I can understand because they got out of the car industry, so there's probably a lot less money available there. They don't have maybe the same dollars to do stuff, but Kawasaki should. Yeah, and we've heard rumors about Kawasaki too. We heard rumors about Suzuki. I mean, Suzuki had big stuff go on last year with saying there's a big intro and there's big things happening. And then they did some things to their ATVs and they're definitely better. But I think those companies, if one of them just came out with a sports side by side, I think they could really stir up the market and they could do something cool. Kawasaki probably more likely than Suzuki, I would say, but I'd like to see both of them do something in there. Terex 4 or Wolverine X4? I'm kind of thinking Terex 4, despite the low power and the engine heat, looking to ride. I'm guessing EOTA is Eastern Ontario Trail Association. Thoughts? The Terex is still pretty old school. The Wolverine, they've actually put some newer thought into. If it was my choice between those two, and you're working it on the weekends, or you're doing, you want it for yard work, cutting firewood, going hunting, moving stuff from here to there, whatever it is, I'd probably go with the Wolverine X4. I'm not an anti-Terex guy. I just haven't seen enough change in that vehicle to really make me want to jump into it right now. And I wouldn't be shocked if they came with some kind of a big change with that vehicle. Yeah, I don't know. You might not like that, but I'd probably look at the Wolverine. Not to mention Yamaha's put a lot more into R&D on those vehicles. They just have. I mean, it's just a fact. Yamaha's been pushing that stuff and trying to come out with more. Yeah, that's probably the one that I would go with. But yeah, we've heard rumors for Kawi too, definitely. Will Suzuki ever get in the market again? Yeah, those are the two guys that we would love to see come out with a sport. And I'm not even talking like, here's me going back on myself now. While I was, harping on Honda for not coming with a big bore, I think that Kawasaki and Suzuki, because they're such kind of like, they're the fringe companies who we really don't see a lot happening from, but we know that there's huge potential there. I think either one of those companies could come with like a 50-inch wide, like a Razor a Razor competitor, something 50-inch wide. They don't have to go huge. Drop the, 750. I don't know. I guess you could drop the 750 into it and it would be okay. Might be a little underpowered, but just come out with something that's in that 50-inch category and start there. And I think that they would see huge growth and huge momentum. I really do. Do an old sled review on snow tracks. We should. We just don't have flipping time. I want to. I used to have all kinds of vintage sleds. I had a whole fleet of vintage sleds, but Now I don't, because I just don't get time to ride them, and then all the points get corroded, and I got to go out and spend time just getting them to run. And where can I go to get info on the best setup for my suspension on my ATV? Well, that's a good question. It all depends on what your ATV is. Best thing I can tell you, if your ATV has adjustable shocks, if it's like high and low speed compression, maybe it's just spring preload. If you have just a basic ATV and all it is that little snail clam adjuster that just, kind of twists up and down to give you more and less spring preload, then my suggestion to you is to take them all to the absolute softest setting, go out, ride it down a set of trail, like say it's a quarter mile or a half mile trail, ride it down the trail, stop, figure out where you're at, what it's doing. Is the front end diving or pulling one way, or is it bottoming out like crazy and just banging around? And how does it feel? Make a small adjustment, run the same set of trail, and stop at the other end, see what you did and what it gave you, what it performed, how it performed, and what it did better. Then stop, make another little adjustment, go back down that same set of trail. Honestly, most people go out, they ride, they change something, and they just keep going. But if you take like an afternoon to set up your suspension on your ATV or your snowmobile, you're going to really appreciate it, and it'll give you a way better ride. You'll have a way better opinion of your sled or your ATV or your side by side, and it's worthwhile doing. So that would be my opinion. Take it out and just run it up the same area, same set of trail, back forth, back forth, back forth. See what it does, see how it changes, and go from there. Sorry, I think it's question mark. Yeah, okay. So Altera 700 XT. So you don't have much adjustability on there. You only have spring preload adjustment. Do that. Take it all the way soft, and then go out and test it. See what you're doing. I mean, if you're running like a plow in the wintertime, you're going to need to crank your front springs to absolute max. In fact, you might need to put heavier springs on. But if you're just talking strictly trail riding, you're not, using it for huge utility purposes, or, you're not throwing a buck on the back rack and that kind of a thing. Well, then just take it up the same set of trail and do that for like an hour and a half, not even an hour. Spend an hour doing that, and you will become so much more educated on how that thing rides and what your adjustment does. And obviously, I know this is common sense, but I'll say it anyways. Make sure you adjust left to right the exact same, and always remember some things, when it comes to your sled or your ATV doesn't have compression and rebound, so you don't have to worry about that. But when you are adjusting compression and rebound, remember that just because you turned it one direction on one side, doesn't mean that you flop it and spin it the opposite direction on the other side. Just make sure that you're adjusting the proper direction. Look at the plus and minuses if you have compression and rebound. I know that's total common sense, but just remember, and don't have one side set up, super stiff, one side super soft. Obviously, that's not going to be good. Big guy, awesome show. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. GPS tracks for some of your favorite rides. Oh, that'd be a good idea, Richard. Yeah, we should do that. We don't, but we should do that. Anyways, to get to get discounts on Elko shocks for my general, you know what? I can't tell you that there is, but I will tell you that if you buy Elko shocks, they're a really good shock company, and they're not a sponsor of our show. I'm just telling you the truth. They're a really good shock company. They build quality products. They're built here in Canada. They won't ship stuff overseas. They only build it in Canada, and that's pretty cool. They hand test everything. Like, they have somebody right there who's signing the card on it that says, hey, I tested this shock on this day at this time, and here's how it performed. I don't know. To me, there's still something important about being North American built. So, and that's a true North American built, not like, assembled in North America. They actually build the stuff here. So it's good quality stuff. What time is it in Canada? It is 2:05, 2:04. You're right. Yep, that is where we are at. Yeah, I don't say A too often, but I do throw it in there every once in a while. Jose Santos, 2018 Wildcat Sport or 2018 RZR S 900 EPS? Well, the 900 is going to give you more performance. That's just a fact. The Wildcat, that 700 does give really good performance for a 700. I mean, it over delivers for sure. But the 900 is going to be more powerful. I am actually a fan of the Wildcat Sport interior. I like the way it fits. I like the interior of it, the cockpit, whatever you want to call it. I actually prefer the Wildcat. I like the drivability of the Wildcat. And I think the Sport comes with, I can't remember the name of the shocks, but it comes with a good shock package too. They're aluminum rebuildables. So for me, oh, sorry, you're talking RZR S. The RZR S comes with good shocks too. So that's kind of a wash. That's a tough one. I'd probably nail it down to price and see what you can get the better deal on and the better dealership. So we all know there's some good dealerships, some bad dealerships. And I don't mean to, I'm not going to go on a rant about that, but there are some places where you know, you're going to get better service. So go in, talk to the people, see where you feel most comfortable, whatever's closest to you. Talk to buddies and friends who are locals, and you know, see what they think about the different dealerships, and then I'd go off that and price, because you're not, you buy either of them, you're really not going to be upset about either. They're both great. Yeah, so I'd go off that. What do we got here? What series Alka shocks is best for the money on my general? You don't need like stage fives. You just don't. They're great shocks, super impressive. And if you got all the money in the world, that's great, but you don't need stage fives. Coming from a general, what's the stock shock on your general? I'm just trying to figure that out in my head. They're a piggyback Fox, correct? Piggyback Fox on those? I'm pretty sure you got piggybacks on the general, right? They're not a steel body. Don't they come with good shocks? Man, I'm sorry. I've been in snow stuff for so long. Fox Podium QS. Oh, it's Fox Podium QS3s on it. So you don't like your Fox Podium QS3s, or you do? Because the QS3s are a pretty good shock, in my opinion. I mean, your Alkas are going to give you way more adjustability for sure. But I kind of, oh, you have the Hunter edition. Oh, okay. Sorry, you got the base ones. Good, good. Okay, I was going to say, if you had QS3s, I was kind of questioning there, but no, we're good. Okay, so you got the Hunter edition. Yeah, I'd probably go with Kyle and Dryden there. Stage threes are the best value. If you want the adjustability, stage threes are where you're at. You can go stage two and stage one if you're not looking for adjustability, but you want a much better shock than just that like black painted steel. I don't know who makes those on the Polarises, but the basic black steel body, non-rebuildable shock that comes on Can-Ams and Polarises and Kawasaki's and all those ones. You know, they're made by car shock companies. Some of them are KYB. Some of them are probably, I think some of them might be made by Monroe. Yeah, they're a pretty basic shock, and they don't do a whole lot for you. If you go to an Alka stage, even a stage one shock, you're in a totally different category. The springs are better. The shock's better. It's rebuildable. It's much better. You go to stage two, and I can't remember if on stage two you get, I'd have to go through their website, but stage two bumps up a little bit as well. It might have a rebound adjuster on it, but it's no reservoir. So it doesn't move the IFP, the internal floating piston, out to the reservoir chamber, so you don't get the same amount of shock volume or oil volume movement and all that stuff. I'd probably, yeah, if you can afford the stage threes, I'd go stage three, because they are a really good shock. We've had great luck with them. I've put them on a whole bunch of different vehicles, but I've also put stage ones and twos on, and I've been very impressed with them in the step up of ride quality. And there's probably a significant difference between stage one and stage three price wise. So it depends on what you want to do. If you're just running it back and forth to the hunt camp, you know, using it on the weekends, riding on the trails, an Alka stage one or stage two over what you currently have, they're just those, you know, black steel body ones, is going to be huge. Stage threes is going to give you a lot of adjustability, but you're going to have to actually tune those and fine tune them. One of the great things is if you call Alka and order it from them, they'll go through the whole process. You know, they'll ask what your vehicle is, what the weight is, what your typical payload that you're carrying, all these different questions, and they'll send them to you roughly set up. So that's nice as well. But there is a lot more adjustment, and with a lot more adjustment comes a whole bunch more responsibility to set it up properly, or you'll feel like they ride like garbage. So yeah, that's my suggestion, is if you're not hauling on the thing, not beating it, not performance riding it, just out cruising, stage ones and twos are going to be a huge improvement. If you want that adjustability and that, you know, premium reservoir design, then the stage threes are the best way to go. Fours and fives are just going into a category that you probably don't need unless you're going to race it. So, and I'm guessing if you got the Hunter edition, you're not. Cool. What else we got on here? New Wildcat X still have steering issues. We didn't have too many issues with steering on that one. I'm not sure about that. Good question. Yeah, we didn't have any problems with it. So I'm not totally sure. I think they probably have fixed it. Yeah, no problem. Traxxas Stampede. 2019, what's the best side-by-side non-turbo that I've experienced? Non-turbo. If Luke were here with me, which he's not, he's in New Hampshire right now. If he were here, he would probably say that it's the XX, because he was pretty impressed by that. If it was me, it is me. I don't know. I had a lot of fun on the Yamaha Sport Shift this year. A lot of fun. I I was super impressed. Now we're talking non-turbo, right? So let's preface that. Non-turbo, I had a lot of fun with the Yamaha. Um, Luke would probably say the XX because he was stoked about that one. Yeah, I don't know. I was really impressed with the Yamaha Sport Shift this year. I had a lot of fun with that thing. I really did, and it shocked me how good it worked, and how fast it shifts, how quick it downshifts, how much I can manipulate it, and that it doesn't do that thing like a. Sometimes I found some other vehicles that are gear on gear with paddle shifting. Uh, you can read between the lines there. They'll auto shift for you if you get too close, and if you're over revving it, they do things for you. I'm of the belief that if you've got paddle shifters or even just a sequential shifter, it should do what you want it to do when you want it to do it. Even if it's obviously I don't want the thing to blow up, but if I'm going to redline it, I want it to let me redline it. And I found the Yamaha you can do that in every way. So I'd be hard pressed not to go out and look at a YXZ Sport Shift because I was really impressed with it. So is that my final choice? Probably not. I can have a debate with you for hours on that because I love this stuff. But I did really enjoy that one. Is the original Wildcat X worth it in 2018 new? It's 15,999 at the door. I mean, I guess that all depends on what you're doing with it, dealership. 15,999 out the door for a Wildcat X. I don't know. It's a good question. I'll have to think about that one more. Can't give you a solid answer right now. I haven't spent enough time in it recently, so yeah. Do I like riding snowmobiles, ATVs, or side by sides better? That's all different. I'm an off-trail snowmobile guy. I don't love putting on high miles on the trail. It's just not where I find myself the most time. I don't not like it. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to whine and complain about having to go out and ride snowmobiles. My job sucks. Um, it's not like that at all. I just prefer to get off trail and ride in the powder. So that's my gig. If I can be powder riding in the mountains, in the flatlands, anywhere on a nice 144 with like a 2.25 inch paddle, or in the mountains on like a 50, 54 or, a 62 with like a 3-inch lug and just cruising in the champagne powder and, finding stuff to drop off and whatnot. Yeah, gets me a little excited. I like that for sure. In the summertime, I'm actually now more of a side by side guy than I am an ATV, but I do still like ATVs a lot. I love riding ATVs. I find that as I'm growing up, and here's another thing, I must be getting older, but I find that as I grow up more, I really enjoy spending time in something that I can see myself actually purchasing. And when it comes to a side by side, I see the potential of these things, how you can do so much more than just go out and ride with them. And an ATV, sure, you can hook a trailer on and do all that kind of stuff. I get it. You can put a plow on the front in the wintertime. I understand that. But having the box on the back of a vehicle like a Wolverine or a Terex or a General or any of those vehicles, a Defender, a Ranger, I just look at it and I go, man, this is so much more functional than where we were 10 years ago. And so that's why probably in the summertime you're going to find me most times on a side by side. I still like holding it wide open on ATVs. I do like getting on, even though there's hardly any sport ATVs being sold. I love going out on a motocross track on a sport ATV. I still like doing that. And I love taking a side by side on a motocross track or a track built for side by sides, where you can jump it and do that stuff. I still love doing that. But I also live in reality where a utility, Defender, General, Wolverine, those types of vehicles, Viking, I find myself in those more often than I do just out on an ATV. So I love snowmobiling in the winter. I love side-by-side riding in the summer. I still love riding ATVs, but I find myself in side-by-sides more. It's a very PC response. Polaris XCR. Polaris XCRs are wicked. We have one this year. Actually, we might have two. We might have a 600 and an 800. But yeah, they're pretty kick arse. They're really nice. Actually, one of my friends just bought an XCR. He loves it. My buddy Stefan, he's been hauling on that thing. Bought a 600 XCR and it's been great. We have an 850 XCR and I think we have a 600 XCR as well. So they're a great sled, really really good sled. You got a simple question. You got a Polaris XP4 Turbo. This is for Rob S. Constantly worry about excess wear on my belt. Can you give me your input on the speed parameters on which to run the RZR in high-low? Thanks. Good question, Rob. So yeah, there's a lot of, I've seen people before do crazy stuff. Like when they're ripping down the trail, they're carrying good momentum and they come to a hill, but I'm not talking like a, straight vert hill, just to a hill that's decent. It's going to cause it to, to lug a little bit, and they want to stop and put it in low range. You can do that, and you will save your belt. You'll drive everybody behind you crazy, and you're probably going to be a mile behind everybody else. The reality is, if you're carrying momentum and the vehicle's not working too hard, you don't need to drop it into low range. If you get to a place where people are, you start to get into the, the rubber band bumpering with all the rest of the people in your crew, you're stopping because the hill's so aggressive that people are actually stopping, watching somebody. The person goes up, then the next guy goes. If you have a point where you get to and that's what's happening, you probably need to put it in low range, and you won't hurt anything by doing that. You can still get good wheel speed in low range. It's not like a 4x4 pickup truck or SUV where you put it into like 4 low and it does like 12 and the thing's revving like 9 grand. It's not like that. You can still get good wheel speed and still go fast in low range to a point. But obviously don't ever run it in low range for long periods of time. But you don't really need to be worried about putting it in low range too often. Essentially, in my mind, it comes to the point where if I'm carrying good momentum, if I'm doing 20, 30 miles an hour, there's good wheel speed, and I come to a hill that I'm probably just going to cruise up and over, maybe I got to give it a bit more throttle, but it's not going to actually, the vehicle's not going to come to a stop, or it's not going to come to a crawl, then there's no reason to put it in low range. Just keep on powering through. If you have a spot where people are starting to rubber band and everybody's stopping and looking up at the next guy who's doing it, and it looks steep to you, or you have to stop to think about how you're going to attack the hill, chances are, if you need to stop and make that assessment, that you need to put it in low range. If you're towing anything, like towing a little bush buggy or something with a load in it, put it in low range. If you got like a load of firewood, if it's empty, you don't need to. If you got somebody on the back with you, you don't need to put it in low range. Yeah, there's a lot of situations like that where people will say, oh, well, I put it in low range all the time. You don't need to most of the time. It's just typically those times where you know that you're going to be lugging it. If you get in a mud hole and you're absolutely like, you got into it and you're swamped and it's just chugging down low, well, those are good times to put it in low range as well. But at the same time, there's times where wheel speed will actually get you out of a situation and low range will get you even more stuck. So just kind of, use wisdom there. It's all kind of one of those things that you just get by feel. But at the end of the day, most of the time, you're not going to blow a belt on an ATV. We don't have hardly any belt failures anymore on side-by-sides. A lot of them now will actually, I believe the Can-Ams now that warn us on the screen and say belt, belt, belt. And it's actually got a temperature sensor inside the belt housing that tells us, and it senses the slip and will tell you when you need to put it in low range. So yeah, hopefully that helps, but you don't need to be worried about it too often. It's just if you get to one of those steep areas where you're going to be climbing, you're putting in 4-wheel drive, or you find a big mud hole that you're going to go through, not a bad idea to put it in at those points. But otherwise, if you're just cruising down the trail and, even if it's a 45-degree incline or whatever, not a big deal, as long as you can keep your wheel speed up and the vehicle isn't coming to a stop and then accelerating. If you stop on a hill and it's like, dead stop, that's where it's going to be harder on it. But if you can carry momentum, don't worry about it. Just keep running the thing in high range and you'll be just fine. Let me read through here. Justin Martin, any chance that I can convince you guys to come to Prince Edward County in Ontario to do a test ride on some quads or side-by-sides? Yeah, we can come down there and go riding. Just if you jump on DirtTrax, the website, atvmag.com or dirttraxtelevision.com, there's a place you can submit a question. If you just fire it in there, just say that you're talking to me on YouTube live chat, and we can figure something out. We're always looking for new places to go ride and stuff to do, and in the summer we definitely have more time. So yeah, we could come out and have a look at something for sure. Send us a message through there. What else we got on here? Steve, don't slow down enough to use low. That's right. There you go. Do you ever get a break from testing and filming to go out on your own terms, snowmobiles, ATVs, or side-by-sides? Yeah, for sure we do. So my dad, Mark, like the patron saint of our company, he's out right now and is out almost every single day snowmobiling. Sure, that gives him opinions for everything that he does for SuperTrax Mag and for the stuff that he does on SnowTrax, sorry. But he does that just because he loves to. He rides every single weekend. I think he's got like 4,000 miles on this season already, and he'll probably put another 4 to 5 on before it's over. So, yeah, he's out all the time. He shows up to the office and sits at his desk in his FXR boots, pants, and he's got his tech vest on and his jacket around the back of his chair. And he literally comes in, does his emails, does any conference calls or whatever he has to do, writes some stuff, then throws on the gear, goes out for lunch, and shows back up around like 4 o'clock. So he's doing that all the time. For me, I get to go out on the weekends. We got 120 sleds, for my kids and little ATVs for my kids and stuff like that. So we go out and have fun with the family and do that kind of stuff. We'll go out for a rip here and there. A lot of the time, I'll be honest, because I do this Monday to Friday. Weekends are just making sure I take care of the family and, spend time with my girls and my wife and all those types of things. But definitely we get out and have fun and do all kinds of things. And, we get a little bit of time off during the year. So typically April and May are a little bit quieter for us because we choose to make it quieter. And that's the time where we usually take off. My wife and I typically go down south into the southern United States for anywhere between 4 to 6 weeks with our kids and just go bounce around down there, finding places to go and keeping them happy. So, and Luke and Mark do the same thing. We find ourselves in Myrtle Beach every once in a while for anywhere between like 2 to 3 weeks, just heading down there and hanging out, doing whatever. So yeah, we get time off. But I'd say between June and March, it's go, go, go. It's anywhere between 5 and 7 days a week, traveling here, there, everywhere, doing everything we got to do to get 39 episodes of Dirt and Snow out for you guys. So it's pretty crazy. Dryden, what's the weather like there? It stopped snowing for the moment. I can see out, but it's been crazy snowing. So we got like 8 inches in the past like 10 hours, I guess. And there's supposed to be more coming. Lots of snow on the ground. Steve, I've been watching you guys for a long time. How long have you guys been doing this? We have been doing, so ourselves, we've been doing just DirtTrax and SnowTrax for about 10 years now. That's myself, Luke, and Mark. Luke did it for 1 or 2 seasons before us. He was working with the previous fellows with John Masingbird, who used to run and own the show. John got ALS and passed away. About 10 years ago now. So his family had come to us and they weren't interested in continuing the show themselves. And we had always worked with John Masingbird, great guy, honestly, salt of the earth man. Helped me in my personal snowcross career many, many times doing shows for us to help, advertise for sponsors and all those things when you're racing. You need those sponsors to keep going. And he was such a good guy. But he passed away from ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease. And then his family came to us 10 years ago, and that's when we made a deal to purchase the shows from them. And so we've been doing TV for 10 years. But prior to that, my dad and my uncle Kent started SuperTrax magazine, and that's in its SnowTrax is in its 25th season. SuperTrax magazine, its 30th season. So that's a long time ago. And I've been doing it ever since I've been able to. Ever since they've let me do things, I've been doing stuff. So it's a family gig. We're all family, but yeah. Ever use E85 on a turbo machine? I have a Razor Turbo running a level 3 tune now. Problems with the cold. We haven't had any problems, but we really don't. In Ontario, we don't have E85. We've got E10, I guess is what you want to call it. It says up to 10% ethanol. Yeah, Steven and Zero Fox. Yeah, anytime anybody has personal questions too, you can ask. That's why I do these things, so people can ask me my opinion and stuff, or ask what goes on behind the scenes. We have 10% here in Ontario. I know in the U.S. there's a lot of E85. My personal opinion. Everybody else can chime in on your opinion. Performance 2-strokes we run premium in. Performance 4-strokes sometimes actually ask for just like an 85 or 87 octane. It would be my opinion on a turbo side by side to run a decent fuel. Like I would look for the stuff in Ontario. Yeah, I guess in Canada wide at Shell. If you buy the Shell, it's called V-Power, I think, right, guys? Shell V-Power doesn't have ethanol in it, and so we run that in all of our everything. All my little small engines, my weed whippers and my lawn tractor and all that crap. People can say that it might be a waste, but I don't like ethanol. I think it's garbage. It's been proven that it rots rubber and interior carb components and all that stuff. It gums up quicker. I'm not an ethanol fan. I don't think we should be using corn for fuel. I think we should be using fuel for fuel. Yeah, dinosaurs make good power, and there's lots of it down underneath us. So I'm not one of those guys who's like, let's use less or let's buy electric vehicles. Forget that. So, yeah, I would say you're probably better off. We have used E85 and stuff when we've been in the US and we haven't been able to find premium. But I just say, if you've got the opportunity to go for something that's non-ethanol or even just a premium octane, use that. It's going to be better. It's going to work better. And at the end of the year, say you put on 2,500 miles on your side-by-side during a summer, the difference between buying just the cheap gas or the good stuff is probably going to be, what's the difference? Maybe $100 over those 2,500 miles. It's not going to be a whole lot. And for the longevity of the rig and just the way that it'll run happier, I would say you just stick with your better premium octane. Sorry, that was a long question for Lauren. Hopefully that helps. What else we got here? Okay, a racing series for the RS1. Well, I thought that they were going to, actually. When we talked to Polaris, I was under the understanding that they were going to make an RS1 race series for the GNCC, but did GNCC stop racing side-by-sides? What's the deal? I can't remember. I don't keep up with GNCC enough. I'll be honest. Anyway, somebody can comment on that. Melvin, dude, love the DirtTrax hat. I wish I owned one. Well, Melvin, if you check out, my wife actually does all the retail stuff for us. I have nothing to do with it other than she just asks me if I like things, and if she does, she'll make them. So you can go on to traxnationretail.com and you can get shirts, hats, all kinds of stuff. Some of the stuff looks pricey on there, but that's because it includes shipping, and we don't ship stuff in plastic bags. We ship it in like nice boxes if it's a hat and whatnot. So I'll give her some props here and a little plug. But if you want to support the brand that we do, just check that out. It's Trax Nation Retail. And in probably, the next few weeks, we're going to have some sales stuff going on, and then we're going to start producing some of our stuff in-house. My wife's going to take that on. So we'll have, we're going to get like sweaters and stuff. We're going to be probably in the neighborhood of like $20, $25 cheaper than they currently are. We're going to do some new t-shirts and get those in there. Hopefully we'll be able to offer you guys stuff a little bit cheaper. It's been tough right now just because, yeah, it's hard for us to make everything and do all that. But my wife's taking that on and going to be doing some. So anyways, check that out. Oh, yeah, ATV on demand. Thank you. Yeah, no more side-by-sides in GNCC. I thought that, yeah. Kind of sad, but I guess they're doing that because there's just not enough demand for it. I guess it's got to be what it is, right? I mean, they'd do it if there was enough people signing up every week. Corn is food, not fuel. That's right. Yeah. Best East Coast trail system in the U.S. Ooh, good question. I think a trail system revolves also around the amenities and services that you can get from that trail system. Hatfield McCoy is hard to beat. It truly is. There's so many offerings there. Windrock, I've heard lots about, and Royal Blue as well. And then, obviously, last year we went to totally drawing a blank. I can't remember where Luke went last year that I went the year before, and I apologize. I should brush up on all that stuff, but we did some shows with them in Bluefield, Virginia. Can't remember the name of this trail system. No, it wasn't Brimstone. It was, I apologize. I will come up with it. It'll come to my mind here, or I'll see it if somebody says it. But anyways, there's a couple of trail systems on the East Coast there that are really good. But I think that it comes down to the amenities that are offered, and that's what's really important. So yeah, you gotta take both those into account. And I really like going to Hatfield McCoy. Side-by-side-off-road.com. They do Fishers and other off-road groups t-shirts. Oh, right on. Yeah. No, we do our own. My wife wanted to take it on, so she does it, and that's at Trax Nation Retail. You can click through it, I think, on most of the links at the bottom of our videos have a little thing for Trax Nation, but yeah. Do you feel like SnowTrax takes over some major DirtTrax content because it's in the winter? Yeah, definitely. I would say that there's definitely the crossover that does that. It's kind of tough because we love both sports so much. So there's definitely a lot of people that or a lot of different companies, whether it be magazines, websites, or there's not a ton of TV shows out there right now, but there's a lot of people who do just one thing, one discipline, and that's what they stick to. We have both of them, and it's both a blessing and a curse, I guess, at the same time. It's kind of a bit of a catch-22 where we could spend more time on DirtTrax for sure, and we could go all season long, I imagine, or we could stretch out those episodes longer. It's just, I guess we couldn't do it on network TV for the whole year because I just don't think that we could do 52 episodes a season. It would probably kill me, and if it didn't kill me, my wife would. But yeah, yeah, definitely there's pros and cons to it. We're snowmobilers. That's where we started. That's what we first started doing. So that's why we do snow tracks, because we love it. But we also are, we're off-roaders. We love the side-by-sides. We love the ATVs. We dirt biked for years before all that stuff. We three-wheeler before that. We did all of these things. So I'd say at the end of the day, where DirtTrax gets a little bit less stuff, we're going to try to do more things like, live feeds and and whatnot. And we still do try to give you guys a little bit of content in the winter as much as we can. Excuse me. But I would say that for that time off that we have, it gives us a new it almost gets us more excited to go back into the next season because we've had a bit of change of seasons. And I don't know if you guys can relate to that. It's like when I go to Florida, I say, oh man, I love Florida. I love the weather here, usually because I'm coming out of like -30 and it's just nice to get somewhere warm. But I think if it was warm 12 months of the year, I'd probably be like, oh man, like I'd get a little bored of the weather. I don't, no offense to anyone down that way, but I'd probably get a little bored of the weather. So the fact that we have that split between summer and winter here, really, I don't know, it gets us fired up for the start of the next season. So even for snow, when snow comes around, we're all fired up to get into snow because we've been doing dirt for 26 episodes. Same thing when we get out of snow. We take a little vacation, a little family time, do that. And then we're like, man, let's get back on the side-by-sides. What's next? And we have a little bit more, just a little bit more energy for that. So anyways, that's my answer. Can you please show my name? Oh, Tatiana. I'm not sure what's going on there. Sorry, I don't get it. Did we discuss the new RZR without ride command and dynamics? Yeah, we did. Word on price. Yep, price there. I can give you that. That is for Lauren. So in the US, the Velocity Turbo S is $25,399 for the 2-seater, $28,399 for the 4-seater. So I'm pretty certain that I think we figured that out, that it's somewhere around $4,000 cheaper, right? Yeah, I think it's about $4,000 cheaper, and uses the more basic interior, less kind of the fun stuff. Well, not fun stuff. Less of the computery gadgets, the dynamic shocks, and the screen with the GPS and the backup camera and all that stuff. So you lose that. You lose the lower doors. You lose the roof. You lose the LED lights up front, or whatever they are. I don't know if they're LED or if they're like fluorescent. I can't remember what those little bars are. I think they're LED. You lose that kind of stuff. But is the Turbo S Velocity worth it even with the missing doors and roof? Well, there you go. There's another thing to think about, right? So you're getting it for $4,000 less, but if you wanted ride command put in, ride command's got to be a couple $1,000, I would think. No, maybe not. Maybe it's like 12 or 1,500. It's got to be around there. Must be. Lower doors, I imagine you go to Pure Polaris and lower doors are going to be like what, $400 or $500 probably, at 300 anyways. I know in Canada they're like $439, so they got to be at least $300. Time to go. Oh, take it easy, Tyler. Then you put the roof on. That's probably another $300 or $400. The headlights is probably, well, I don't even know if you can buy those, but yeah. So you're probably, at the end of the day, it's a big difference. Is it worth it? I don't know. Okay, I'm gonna go through some other stuff here. What do we got? When are you gonna do a full review on the Polaris RZR Turbo S? We didn't get our RZR Turbo S last season, so that's why you did not see one. It was supposed to be coming, and then something happened, and it missed on shipping. So we will do more, and we will get that to you. Come the springtime, we will crush that for sure. Don't you worry. What do you think about Argo ATVs? Is the power there in the low, mid, and high range? Argo's actually doing a good job with their ATVs. They're good quality. They're a nice vehicle. Argo's amphibious stuff is great. We like Argo's stuff. They're doing a good job, and I think you'll probably see, you'll see more there in the future. I think they're doing pretty well with all their different lines. Their dealer network is really expanding, and they're growing at a pretty rapid rate. So I think you're going to see more stuff coming out of Argo in the future. And yeah, their ATVs are good quality. They're a good product and they work well. You know, their 1000 is fast, and they've got their I think they've got a 500 in there as well. You know, really good products. Their 2-ups are comfortable, work well. Yeah, they're a nice vehicle. Nice ATV. Sorry, excuse me. All right, what do we got? Do I think the 200 horsepower range is coming? I wouldn't be shocked if a company like Arctic Cat broke the 200 horsepower. Well, no, 200 horsepower. So we're still a ways off, I guess. I think we're still 30 horsepower from there, but I wouldn't be shocked to see a company like that come with something crazy. You know, just do one of those like kaboom, drop a bomb on everybody and be like, here, what do you think of that? You know, and send everybody else running for the hills. So I think Arctic Cat is a company who could do that. Will they? I don't know. I think they could. I think it could happen. And I think that Yamaha could push that for sure. I mean, in the sled it does. So I think they could do it in the side by side. What do we got here? Lower doors are $459 US. Wow, that's crazy, isn't it? I'm not sure what the Argo ATV price range is. You can check on their website. I think they have pricing on there. I'm not 100% certain though. I apologize. I don't have that in front of me. All right, checking in from Arizona, 66 degrees here. Yeah, it's not here. I think your favorite video this season was the Sport XMR Maverick. Oh, good, cool. I'm glad that one was fun. We had a good time doing that. It was late season that they shipped it to us, and the and the picking snow and ice got here, and we were just like, what are we gonna do? So we started looking around all around the area. We were gonna drive within like 8 hours to try to find mud. Everywhere we called, they were like, it's frozen, it's frozen, it's frozen, it's frozen. So we were like, you know what? Let's just go out and see what the heck we can find out there and see if there's anywhere we can break through. And sure enough, we found some serious mud. We got real cold, real wet. It was fun. Yeah, that was a good day. That was a definite good. Actually, it was 2 days worth of filming for that one. That was fun. I'm glad you liked that one though. Robby is announcing on the 1st. See what happens. What's that for? For the shame that the Maverick Sport XM, XRC, and XMR didn't get the lights above. Yeah, I know. I agree with you. Yeah, I think the Can-Am should have put the harness and the LED. Yeah, I agree. Totally agree. Coming to drag at the mag. I don't think that we are right now, but I'm not 100% sure. When is the Can-Am new lineup coming? Read some of the release new style product every 6 months till 2020. I'm not sure if when that was for. I thought they said back in 2014 that it was going to be a new product every 6 months and that they delivered on that. But maybe it is still coming. I mean, they've been bringing stuff like crazy, so it won't shock me if they have another product. We'll let you know as soon as anything does come, though. We'll have stuff up right away. Okay, I apologize. Don't mean to yawn. I do actually have to go back to work. I came home so I could do this for you guys. But I have to run back to work. I got a few more things to do. I've been on here. We've been on for an hour and 40 minutes. Oh my goodness, that's crazy. Ride Command costs a little over $1,500. There you go. Yeah. So you know what? I'm not going to say that the Turbo S Velocity isn't a good choice because it's cheaper and they're bringing another option to market and they're opening up the doors for something else. I just don't know if at 25, excuse me, $399 or going to the Dynamics, which is like, you know, $3,000 to $4,000 more. I'm just not sure. I don't know. I don't know what my choice would be. I guess I'll have to get some seat time in it, see how it works without the Dynamics. But I really like Dynamics, and I really like that GPS, and I really like, you know, the lower doors, and I really like the roof, and I don't know. I really like cool stuff. So not to say that the Dynamics or that the Velocity isn't cool. Definitely cool. It'll just be interesting to see it and maybe compare it back to back with an S. So a Turbo S, the regular Dynamics one. Apparently a new XX is being announced on the 1st. Well, hopefully it is. If it is, it'll be a turbo. I'm almost 100% certain of that. So if they, and I will, I'm not going to bet anything because I'm not a betting man, probably because I'd lose. But I'm gonna say that if they bring out a turbo on from Arctic Cat, I wouldn't be shocked if it wasn't in like the 175 horsepower range. So we'll see what happens. Anyways, everybody, I really appreciate you guys coming on. Thanks for tuning in. I think we had like up to 140 people at some points there. It's been fun. I'll try to get on for SnowTrax for you guys too, for all you people who are asking about SnowTrax questions. We'll try to get on here again in the next couple of weeks and do a little bit more. Our snow season is actually winding down. We're getting down to the last few episodes that we have to actually film and put together. So we'll have more time to be doing this stuff when it comes to like March and whatnot. We'll get on here. We'll have fun with everybody, talk. You can ask questions. You can beat me up a little bit if you don't think I'm right. That's all right. I can take it. And yeah, we'll have a little more fun in the near future. So anyways, thanks to you guys for tuning in. Thanks for watching our show. Thanks for watching YouTube. We appreciate it. I only get to do what I do because you guys tune in and watch and do this stuff. So thank you very much for doing that from the bottom of my heart. I really appreciate it. Yeah, we appreciate you guys. So stay safe out on the trails. Keep the rubber side down, both ATVs, sleds, and side-by-sides. And hopefully we'll see you out on the trails. You guys take it easy.